Okay, so let's get started. Thank you everyone for joining, and I'm Aditi Skandan, the founder of International Achievers, a student-led initiative dedicated to helping students explore careers, discover opportunities, and learn from inspiring individuals who are actively creating an impact in their communities. For those of you who are new here, these are monthly webinars, and for those of you who are not, welcome back to our July webinar. Before we begin, again, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today. One of the things we do value the most at International Achievers is creating spaces where students can have meaningful conversations with people who are only just a few steps ahead of them, because sometimes hearing someone's journey firsthand can completely change the way we see our own possibilities. Today's webinar is especially exciting because we will be diving into the journey of pursuing medicine, exploring BSMD pathways, understanding leadership and service, and also learning how students can begin building meaningful experiences from an early stage. Our featured speaker today is going to be Sanya Nath, whose journey truly represents the idea that excellence is not just about achievements and about curiosity, commitment, and consistently seeking ways to serve others. She is an incoming second-year student in the SJV PRIME Plus BSMD program at UC Merced, where she is studying biological sciences with a human biology emphasis. Through her journey, she has explored medicine, research, leadership, and community service while staying deeply committed to improving children's health. She's also the founder of Happy, Healthy, Bright Kids, which we'll be emphasizing more in the future slides, a community based organization focused on promoting children's intellectual, social, and physical health through education and outreach. And her long term goal is to become a pediatric neurosurgeon, combining scientific innovation with compassionate patient care to improve outcomes for children and families. Sanya, thank you so much for joining us today. We're incredibly excited to learn from your experiences, and I shall hand it over to you.
Thank you so much for that warm and kind introduction, Aditi. I'm so happy to be here and very excited to share some of the lessons that I've learned along my journey through medicine, but also in the SJV Prime Plus BSMD program. This slide kind of emphasizes some of the points that you shared. I'm an incoming second-year student, so I completed my first year in this program, and I'm really excited to share what I learned with you. And so just to highlight, SJV Prime Plus is a workforce development model for newly incoming first-time freshmen to become a doctor for the San Joaquin Valley of California. I personally am very fortunate to have this opportunity and am excited about the opportunity to use some of the skills that I've learned along the way and through service and community medicine to become a physician committed to serving the people and the children of the Central Valley. And so this slide shows a picture from our cohort, from the third cohort. And really what I wanted to emphasize here is that through this program is completing their medical education program and receiving their medical degree from UCSF School of Medicine after obtaining a Bachelor of Science from UC Merced and finishing medical training at UCSF Fresno. So today's webinar is going to focus on navigating rigorous coursework and pre-med requirements effectively, developing essential soft skills, and leading impactful student initiatives, and then also insights into the path toward becoming a physician dedicated to serving the Central Valley. So, Aditi touched upon Happy, Healthy, Bright Kids in the introduction, and so I'm going to share a little bit more about it. So I founded the community-based organization called Happy, Healthy, Bright Kids with the goal to promote children's intellectual, social, and physical health by educating kids and their parents in San Joaquin County. And so really what that means is that I am interested in helping kids to both succeed academically and also intellectually and socially. Um, and so in this HHBK health model, you can see on the y-axis there's health, and that's kind of the physical dimension of it. And then on the x-axis is wellness. So that's intellectual and social wellness. Um, and really, I'm committed to helping kids to both be healthy physically, but also be in a environment that supports their intellectual development, their social development, and just their overall well-being. Because I think that really is the key to um, having good future citizens and people that can just make a positive impact overall.
Thank you so much for sharing about Happy, Healthy, Bright Kids. It was really nice hearing about this organization. Also, just so that everyone knows, you can enter questions in the chat and we can answer them throughout the session or during our Q&A time. We have a really important question right now to ask you, which is why pediatric neurosurgery? I know that you have a very specific goal of becoming a pediatric neurosurgeon, as mentioned, which is a highly specialized and challenging field. For many students, medicine can feel very broad because there are just so many different specialties and pathways. So, what specifically drew you towards pediatric neurosurgery and what field inspires?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So before I share, I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into what this field is like. So pediatric neurosurgery is defined as a specialized field of neurosurgery that focuses on the treatment of neurological conditions in children, addressing the unique challenges presented by their smaller anatomical structures and complex pathologies. And could you please play the video on the screen so that the students here can get a little bit more of an understanding of what it's like to be a pediatric neurosurgeon?
Hi, I'm Dr. Cormac Marr. I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon here at Stanford Medicine, Children's Health. A lot of different pathways to pediatric neurosurgery because we treat a wide variety of neurosurgical conditions. The common feature is that everything has to do with the brain and the spinal cord, and to some extent the peripheral nervous system. The great thing about pediatric neurosurgery is because we're seeing patients, we're seeing their families at a time of great need, and it's our responsibility to bring them through that. The important thing, I think, is being as transparent as possible, being as honest as possible, and giving complete information about what every step along the way is going to look like, so there's no surprises. We want to cure kids, and we want them to be able to leave this disease process behind and not be something that's dominating their life the way it inevitably is when they first meet with us. And that's the goal for everybody. That's what gets us up in the morning.
Thank you so much for playing that video. So now our audience has a little bit better of an understanding of what it's like to be a pediatric neurosurgeon working in a children's health setting. So I'll take the next few minutes to share kind of like my personal catalyst for choosing this field and kind of how my interest has evolved. So in high school, I was really interested in the idea of brain plasticity and how the brain is able to adapt. And I've always been really interested in the idea that kids are very resilient and able to overcome a lot of hardship. And so I further explored this through AP psychology at my high school, as well as through classes that I took with San Joaquin Delta College. And so specifically in the psychology course I took at community college, I was able to learn more about the specifics related to the brain plasticity, and I was able to write a research paper about it, and so that kind of got me interested in the research aspect of it. And then as I continued on my journey into college, in my first year, I took a cognitive psychology class which really exposed me to the inner workings of the brain and then different diseases, as well as different options available for treating brain diseases as well as complications. And so that was really interesting. And then as I kind of did further research into it, I was looking at pediatric neurosurgery as a specialty in the Central Valley. And I understand that there's a really big need for more specialists in the Central Valley area specifically. And so I think that it would be a really great opportunity for me to learn more about something that I'm interested in while also making a positive impact on children's health and serving a community that really needs.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. As you mentioned, in your journey, you consistently pursued opportunities from an early stage. When you talked about doing AP psychology and how you're interested in specifically children's brains, I know that a lot of people do wonder how exactly they can begin getting opportunities like these, even if they don't have any experience yet. So, could you please emphasize a little more on that?
Yeah, I think that there are so many different opportunities available to explore your interest. And I think a great place to start is by like choosing a few topics that you're interested in and doing research on them, whether that's like reading different articles from different journals or watching YouTube videos, kind of like the one I showed, right, where you're learning more about what it's like to have that position. You can reach out to family members and friends that you know who are in similar fields of interest as you. And even just having conversations with them can be a really great way to see if that is something that you're interested in pursuing. You can, for like healthcare, you can seek out opportunities to shadow physicians or, um, watch, like, if you're interested in like procedures, you can go online and read about different techniques. You can watch videos. And so I think there are a lot of ways to reach out to your network and learn more about things that you're interested in.
Thank you so much. We have questions from students now, just to get into the interactive portion. How do we get into BSMD programs? Can you let us know what kind of volunteer hours we need to put in, extracurricular activities, and your GPA?
Yeah, so typically with BSMD programs, they're looking for students with a strong commitment to medicine, as demonstrated by uh, involvement in typically shadowing and like strong science courses, like a strong GPA in science courses like biology, chemistry, physics, as well as math. So that's usually calculus in high school. And so it can be calculus and physics. And so in general, uh, they're looking for students who are interested in medicine, have shown that interest over time, uh, have shown a deep commitment to science, but also communicating that science. And that's where a lot of the service and research comes in. Research is really a way of communicating your findings with other people, right? Disseminating knowledge. Um, and then service uh, is really about kind of using your knowledge and your skills to help others. And again, that can take a lot of different forms. Um, in the slide before, there's a picture of me helping run a clinic for children in Tracy, which is where I grew up. But I think in general, BSMD programs are just really like committed to students who are passionate about science and communication, um, and to serve other people. And I think again, when you're researching different BSMD programs, it's helpful to look at what the specific mission of each program is. Um, and so I shared the mission of the SJV Prime Plus BSMD program, but there are so many, right? And so it's important that when you're looking, you're trying to find a fit between your values and your beliefs and your interest and their specific values and mission and kind of what they like. And wherever there's a good fit, I think that's where you'll be able to put forward the strongest case for yourself.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I really liked the point where you mentioned it's important to weave in all parts of you and your experiences to really present them in a decent way or a well way, just because, having a lot of different experiences, internships, good GPA, that does matter. But like you said, being able to express yourself in that certain impactful way that aligns with your certain goals, missions, and values, that is a really important factor as well. Thank you so much. We have another question from Meher. She said that she has a question that will be on how she advocated for herself in the application. So, how did you advocate for yourself in your application?
Yeah, so a big part of advocating for yourself is sharing your journey and your story, right? It's showing that you have had a consistent journey with medicine and you've consistently uh, wanted to serve others. And again, that can be in different capacities, right? It doesn't just have to be in medicine. It can be through other extracurriculars and, for example, like leading clubs at your school or initiating events. But I think in general, the main theme with advocating for yourself is by really showing that you have a long-term commitment to your goal with the program, right? And so each person entering a BSMD program will likely have their own goals and what they want to achieve out of the program. And so I think really thinking about what your personal goal with this program as well as other programs are, or just like with medicine itself is going to be really helpful because once you've identified what your personal goal is and what you want to do, then you can explain how your goals and what you've done and your past experiences kind of all fit in together, and you can explain how the program is going to help you to reach your goals of helping others in short.
Thank you so much. Thank you for answering that question. We have another question from Bachi over here. She'd like to unmute herself. You can
Hi, Sanya. I just had a question about like the things that you did in high school. I know that you had like a nonprofit, but specifically like academically, what APs or like what courses would you recommend taking above others?
Hi, Vachi. So, in my experience, in terms of demonstrating academic rigor in your coursework through high school, I would say focus on your science AP courses. I personally took AP biology. Um, if your school has AP chemistry, that's great. Um, you can also take community college courses as a way to supplement science courses that may not be offered at your school. Um, I took other supporting classes as well. I took AP Statistics, AP Calculus, AP Physics. AP Psychology, AP Environmental Science, AP Spanish Language and Culture, especially because of the area that we're in. I'm in the Central Valley. And so I think that taking different courses uh, can all, like they can all kind of complement each other. But for the BSMD programs, I would really focus on having a strong science and math courses.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanya. Yeah, especially for the community college courses, sometimes if you're just interested in sort of niche areas, like for example, nutrition is what I'm interested in, and I decided to take a community college course on it, and it was just able to give me so much more insight on how it would be if I decided to pursue this specific major. So, community college courses are definitely something you can look for. Another question we have is, does it matter if you focus on job shadowing versus volunteering at a local hospital? For example, in shadowing, you can only watch people, whereas for volunteering, you can do hands on activities. So they want to know the difference between both.
Yeah, I think that you can uh, you can do some of both. But if you feel that you're getting more out of volunteering, then that can be really great, and you can continue doing that. Um, I think job shadowing is good because it gives you an insight into what it's like um, to be in the position of uh, the professional that you want to be. So I think they both serve different purposes, and you can learn a lot from both. Um, so yeah.
Thank you. For my personal experiences, my school has a job shadow program, and I was able to go to a law firm and visit a hospital, specifically a VA hospital. And both of those experiences were really insightful because, for example, I was interested in law in the beginning, and now I'm interested in medicine or like that sort of health related field. And it just really goes to show how each field is, or a day in the life of the career pathway. Just because when I went to the business law firm, for example, it was completely different from what I expected. And a VA hospital was also completely different from a regular hospital or a clinic. So if you have opportunities to shadow someone, I think it's definitely worth it. We have another question from Arthi. Did you use any of the AP credit in college or retook the courses in college?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did receive credit for the AP coursework that I completed in high school. So I took Calculus AB, and so I moved on to Calculus 2 first semester of college. And then with biology and chemistry, those are really foundational courses for medicine. And so as part of the program, all of the students take uh, organismal biology, as well as molecular and cell biology, and then general chemistry 1 and general chemistry 2 during the first year of the program.
Thank you. I think that is a question that even I've thought of a lot because, for example, I know retaking or taking community college courses and AP classes really help us for college, but sometimes I do feel like obviously when you go into the college class, they will be covering so much more depending on what college it is. So definitely looking into what your college takes for as credit really matters when you're applying for college.
Yeah, and then I'd just like to add, in general, I think exposure to the material early on in high school, regardless of whether credit is granted, is going to be really helpful for you in terms of understanding the material and also seeing if you're really interested in continuing to study that material at a more in-depth level as you progress to college.
Thank you. And we have another question. Would taking a language other than Spanish be an advantage for applying to programs in college?
Yeah, so again, I think I think that language learning is really great. And if you're passionate about learning another language, I think that's awesome. And that's only going to be a plus as you apply to these programs. There's research that shows that being bilingual or speaking more than two languages can be really great for giving you more access to opportunities, and that way you're able to communicate with a wider range of people. And so I am a big supporter of language learning.
Me too, because I am not taking Spanish in high school. I'm actually taking French, and it's one of my favorite classes in school just because learning about French culture, especially they have different food cultures and nutrition cultures. I was able to connect that to my interest in nutrition as well. And learning a language is definitely a lot of fun, especially when you start becoming slightly more fluent in it and you can have conversations with your friends and your teachers. So definitely if you're interested in a language, you should just go ahead and learn it.
Yeah, and Duolingo is a great way to get started or continue.
Yes. We have another question from Acho. Um, what internships or summer programs did you do during your 11th and 12th grade summer?
Yeah, so I personally participated in the pediatric internship program at Stanford, and I was part of the Danny Chu endocrinology lab, where I researched non-invasive insulin administration methods, or specifically, I was looking at different ways of delivering insulin into the body. Uh, the main way, the standard way is through injections, and so I was looking at ways to deliver insulin through the mouth or through the skin. Um, but in general, I think any form of research is a really great way to learn more about a specific field that you're interested in and show that you're really committed to learning about that topic. I think research is a great way of uh, putting the scientific method into practice, and also a great way to communicate uh, what you've learned with others and also learn from other people, right? And continue to share information. Um, I also was part of decision medicine, which is uh, which is how I got more experience with touring different hospitals in the area, like San Joaquin General Hospital. Um, and again, there are a lot of opportunities to look for internships or programs. You can go online to websites. Like Stanford has a lot of programs, but there are also other like community organizations that have such opportunities. And so I would suggest looking um, there, or your school counselor can also be a great resource for trying to identify nearby opportunities.
Yes, and I'd like to add on to that. At the time of finding or searching for different internships and summer programs, being open-minded is really important because let's say you're just not interested that much in the field of law, but still doing something related to policy, for example, could help you if you're interested in the environment, because there's so many different factors in environmental policy or even health, like public health. So really looking at what your interests lie and where what intersection it lies at, for example, public health, the environment, policy, or nutrition and technology. So just being open-minded during that experience is pretty important as well. And we have another question from Satvika. How many volunteer hours are typically recommended? I've heard anywhere from 40 to 100 hours. Also, what GPA range do the UCs generally look for in students interested in a BSMD pathway?
Yeah, and so for the the GPA range, I would aim for um, a high GPA in terms of the coursework you're taking, especially with the science and math courses. Um, I would definitely go for I believe 3.6 or 3.7, and upward and up and onwards is good. And then for hours, I think more so than focusing on the hours, I would focus on the impact that you're able to make through the volunteering. Um, I think hours can be a way to quantify what you're doing, but I think more so, uh, you should focus on how you can reach reach a large audience and um, like really help others, right? I think just like focusing on the hours can sometimes take away from uh, like describing the impact of the work that you're doing.
Thank you. We have a question from Anvita, which is like pretty similar to what we touched on before. How do you find opportunities to shadow people, and how do you know if the people you shadow are credible?
Yeah, you can look online for different providers in your area, and then you can reach out to them via email or calling them. Um, and I think that can be a good way. And otherwise, if you know like family members or other health professionals, maybe through school, you might have like guest speakers. Um, Again, you can talk to like teachers that at your schools that may be involved with medical pathways or the counselor for guidance on um, people who may be available in the area. And were there any other questions about that, Aditi?
Yes, there are a few more questions, but I'd like to add on to the shadowing part. I know that a lot of people do suggest cold emailing professors. I mean, that is a great way, but you don't know whether they would respond or not. But like Sanya mentioned, asking your family members whether they know any connections is a really great way to finding different people to shadow. And also putting yourself out there and networking with as many people as possible. For example, at school events, or if you see any opportunity nearby in your community, just going there and showing up and talking to people and expressing your interests. You never know whether the person you're talking to know someone else or they themselves are like a professional in the field that you're interested in. So putting yourself out there is a great way to find people to shadow or connect with. And we have a question from Sai. Did you participate in any USABA competitions or other science competitions?
So I personally participated in Science Olympiad from middle school to high school. And so I thought that was a really great opportunity to learn to participate in different events in different fields. I remember doing chemistry lab as well as some building events. Um, I was also involved with being an officer for Science Olympiad in high school. And so I think that these competitions are a great way to build teamwork while learning more about specific areas in science that you're interested in. Um, and overall, it can be a really great, like, collaborative space to work with uh, like-minded individuals.
Yes, thank you. And this next question is actually a really interesting question that even I'm curious about. How is the Merced campus experience? Does it feel safe compared to any other UCs? What are the challenges you faced?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. My experience at Merced was really wonderful. I enjoyed that it was a smaller campus compared to the other UCs. So I never had an issue with like walking from my dorm to the dining hall or from dining hall to classes. It's all like 5 to 10 minutes, which is really nice. Uh, I think that Merced did a really great job and continues to do a really great job in creating a very welcoming space where everyone feels um, safe and uh, ex open to learning and sharing uh, ideas and just like learning from each other. And I had a really great time. There were a lot of like events throughout the year, like there's like rock painting and different like arts and crafts events for different holidays. And so those are hosted by the care team, which is kind of like the psychological services and counseling and psychological services. And so overall, I really enjoyed my experience, and I'm excited to continue my second year at Merced. But yeah, overall it was really good. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually also just realized a lot of us tend to really focus on the university as a whole and like the prestige and how to get into it, the application, and we tend to miss looking into campus life and actually asking people how their life is on campus and whether like food and other stuff like you mentioned, for example, craft activities. I think just having a part where you can expand your social life and try to get out of just working too much, because coming to my next question, which is how do you manage your time and health when you do all this work, especially in high school and in college?
Yeah, I think that it really comes down to planning out your time well. I recommend like using a calendar or a planner or some organizational tool to help you keep track of important deadlines with schoolwork and like research and community service, but also have time to socialize, right? To spend time with your friends and your loved ones and get to do things that you like just for, just because you enjoy them, right? Whether that's like dance or music or, spending time with friends in cafes. I think just like managing your time and kind of planning out what you'd like to do and how you'd like to spend your time in advance can make the semester a lot smoother so that you don't have to worry about like missing things. You can do things in advance and then enjoy the time that you have with your friends and family.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I would definitely recommend using a planner. I use a paper planner, but I know that a lot of people prefer digital planning methods as well, and looking into methods such as time blocking and everything. It just really helps make sure that you're taking the time off to balance your health as well as your work, because health is obviously a priority because you need to be healthy enough to be able to study and pursue your careers. We have a
Yes.
next question. How do you apply for, oh, did you apply for other majors in colleges? And when did you decide you really wanted to apply for BSMD programs? And what other colleges did you get into?
Yeah, so I applied to other colleges. I applied to the other UCs in California, and then I did do some out-of-state BSMD programs as well. In regarding the major, I applied as a biological sciences, like human bioemphasis, or a similar major across the different universities. Um, and I personally knew that I wanted to apply for a BSNG program pretty early in high school, and that helped me to have a direction for how I wanted to spend my time in high school so that I could position myself uh, for these programs. And then for what other colleges did I get into? So I applied to uh, all of the UCs except for UC Santa Barbara and Santa Cruz, and I got into all of them, which was really exciting. Um, and then I got into Johns Hopkins University, um, as well as a few other combined medical programs. But again, I know decision making is a big thing. And so regarding advice on that, it really depends on, or it really comes down to with what you value for your personal like goals. And, that can be like professionally, but also personally. And so by really like thinking about what you would like from your college experience and what is important to you, you'll be able to kind of decide what is best for you in terms of which campus.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's also all about, like you said, decision making. I know that an advantage to the BSMD program is also not having to take the MCAT. So it also comes down to what you value and what you're really willing to focus on a lot. So thank you for sharing that with us. We have another question. What is the timeline of decisions for the BSMD program? Did you have to hold off other decisions while waiting for this decision, or did the timelines generally align well for you?
Yeah, so you for the timeline of the program, it is so basically the way it works is you would apply to UC Merced and then you would complete a supplemental application. Um, when I was doing it, um, it was due in early December, but again, you should check the website for the most official and latest information. Um, and then I got my decision end of March, which is uh, pretty similar to when a lot of the other universities got back. And then did you have to hold off other decisions waiting for this decision? Um, so like each program, each university sends its own letter and the the admissions decision from each university is kind of like independent of the other. And so uh, I didn't have to hold off per se. So yeah, so I kind of like got the decisions in March and then I was able to make mine. And then yeah, I think that answers the question.
Yes, thank you so much. And as Sanya and I mentioned before, I think really writing down all of the decision dates or application deadline dates is really important just so that in case you're applying to a lot of different colleges, so you know by when you're supposed to make the decision, what colleges are priorities for you, when the applications are due, the type of applications, etc. It's just really helpful to have them all in one place. We have another question. How was your journey towards landing an internship at Stanford, and what does one need to do before such an opportunity?
The hell, man?
Yeah, so I really would encourage um, students to look into the different opportunities that are available early on. And so that can be like earlier in the year. So typically you apply for these programs in February, um, or it could be even earlier. Right? It might even be like December or like even before November, December. And so I really recommend that like at the start of the school year, you start looking at the application deadlines for programs that you are interested in, and then think about how you can put forth an application to that respective program, which showcases your background in that area and what you want to learn from that program.
Thank you. And again, like Sonia mentioned before, Stanford does have a lot of different internships, programs, courses. A lot of them are pretty open to high school students as well. So just really taking the time to explore each of them because there are a lot of niche ones as well, like AI in medicine or AI in a certain factor of medicine. So a lot of new ones are coming up as well. So really taking the time to research them and just take applying to all of them and taking a shot really just helps that as well. Another question from Meher. Do UCs look at senior grades, particularly in the first semester?
Um, I would say that when when you submit your application, uh, you wouldn't have your senior grades. But from my understanding, they do receive uh, your full transcript. I believe that I believe like the counselors send your fall grades after they've been released. So your with the fall semester grades would be sent after the December term, that term finishes. And then once you are accepted and you make your decision into college, decision for which college you want to go to, then they're going to get your transcript when the school year finishes.
Yeah, I also did hear and saw in the admissions page that they do put a lot of emphasis on sophomore and junior year grades, which is 10th and 11th grade. I mean, obviously, it is nice to keep your senior grades consistent as well, but as they mentioned, when they look at your 10th and 11th grades, they do hope to see you maintain the same level of consistency throughout senior year as well. We have another question. There is an age limit for most of internships, which is 18 plus. That means most of the high schoolers in their school or senior year might only be able to do it. So they wanted to ask you, how do how do you find internships for people under 18?
Yeah, so just like Aditi mentioned before, really looking at opportunities for high schoolers. Like Stanford does have a lot of programs that you can look into, but you can also look at other opportunities like Kaiser, Sutter, or different. You can reach out directly to practices and clinics.
Thank you. And after this question, we do have a question about my background on an introduction. I give an introduction in the beginning, but if there's anything you'd like to know more in the last couple minutes of the call, I can go over more about myself. So we'll be getting back to this question later. And the next question is, do applicants have to live in the San Joaquin Valley to be considered for the UC Merced BSMD program?
Yeah, so the program, could you please go back to the slide about the SJV Prime Plus ESN2 program? Yeah, so um, it's specifically like they're really looking for students who have deep ties to the San Joaquin Valley of California.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Anvita, how can you start in middle school? Like finding your interests or trying everything? Should they do research, clubs, and how will that help them in the future?
Yeah, I think um, in middle school, you can look at different opportunities to explore your interest. For example, I remember that when I was in Science Olympiad in sixth and seventh grade, I had the chance to study for different events. I remember studying fossils for one of them, and I think, and then there were a few building events I did, and I think that that was a great opportunity for me to like, really like explore one subject and learn how to study that topic and learn how to prepare for that event. And then I got the opportunity to participate in the competition during Science Olympiad, and then um, you get to also like learn from your experience and reflect on how it went, and then you can kind of think about how you might want to improve next time. But that's one way that I explored my interest in science. I was also in Math Olympiad, and that was a good opportunity to challenge myself with like different math problems, but also like collaborate with other people and learn about how um, other people kind of approach challenges and things. But again, you can explore your interests in other ways too. You know, even in the electives that you take, right? I took band from sixth grade through eighth grade, and I played the flute, and that was also a really cool opportunity to learn how to be part of a larger group of people and learn how to play an instrument and play different songs. And then I performed at the Tracy Grand Theater. And so I think like all of these, all the different opportunities that you get in middle school can really like help you learn more about yourself and also what you might want to continue to do as you get older.
Yes, thank you. And I like to add on to this question as well. just because since you're starting out in middle school, I think something to keep in mind is really try to explore everything in all the different fields. I know you're trying to find your interest, but try not to narrow down something right from the beginning of middle school or right from the beginning of high school and freshman year, especially like in freshman year of high school or middle school. Try to join all the clubs just so you get exposed to a lot of different new fields. For example, I did not know much about the field of law and public policy. And when I went to the job shadow, like I mentioned, I was exposed to it. And even though I didn't want to sort of pursue a career in law or anything, I realized that so much of the policy decisions are related to health and public health and nutrition as well, which really goes to show that you should really restrict your mind to just one certain pathway. And really looking at all the different experiences you can have is an important part as well. And then another question we have is there an early decision for the BSMD program?
So all applicants would receive their decisions at the like in for me it was in March, like around the end of the term, like March, April time, and usually like the other universities. So there isn't like a early decision, it's just um like everyone would have to get their decisions kind of at the same time and
Okay,
near the end of the year.
thank you so much. We do have another question, but this is sort of something we touched on before, so I'll just quickly mention it was what school year grades do the UCs look at? So they primarily look at 10th and 11th grades and they focus on that, hoping that you maintain the same consistency in senior year as well. Is there anything you'd like to add, Sanya?
I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And our next question is how is the diversity of UC Merced and how has that experience been for you?
Yeah, UC Merced is a very diverse campus. It is a Hispanic serving institution, so uh, there are a lot of like Spanish speakers. But overall, like I would say that it's pretty diverse. It has people from different backgrounds. A lot of the people are from like places close to the Central Valley, or like within a few hours of Merced, but there's also like people from Southern California and things like that. But overall, I would say it's a really uh, good experience in it. There is quite a bit of diversity, which is really good for kind of expanding the way that you think and for hearing with different perspectives from people.
Yes, thank you so much. We do have another question. Do you have to pick your major and minor while applying, or is that something you can choose once you get accepted?
Specifically when you're applying to the UCs, you're gonna apply with a specific major. Um, and for the BSMD program, you would apply for one of the four qualifying majors. So that's like biological sciences, um, there's like chemistry, bioengineering, and so forth. Um, and so you would apply for one of those, and then as for minors, those you can declare after you get into the university.
And sort of continuing that question, does each major have a cap of acceptance?
Yes, I think that it would kind of vary depending on the specific program in school and like the major, but some majors are more competitive than others.
Yes, definitely. And I also was like speaking with someone, a student admissions officer, and they also said that really looking at admissions rates and transfer rates, though it is helpful at times, it really depends on the demand each year. So try not to look too much into it and sort of discourage yourself because you never know how many students apply to that specific major that year. And before sort of closing off and talking more about myself, I had one last question for you, Sanya, which is what would you tell your middle school or high school self if there's one thing you could tell your younger self, like middle school or high school self, to do more of or to do less of, or just in general, what would it be?
Yeah, I think now that I reflect on my journey and now that I am where I have been like working so hard to be, I would really like tell my younger self that, um, continue to follow what you're interested in and continue to be curious. Um, I think also it can be like this process can be really rigorous and at times, it can be easy to like get caught up in all of the like the just like small stressors of life, but just like really understanding that like everything is gonna work out and you're gonna reach, you're gonna be where you're meant to be in the future. So I would just really encourage um, my younger self to be curious and continue to follow her passions and interests.
That was really sweet. Thank you so much. Oh, we do have last few questions. How hard is the BSMD program?
Yeah, so I think um, again, I would uh, I would say that regarding the program, um, I wouldn't say that like the program um itself can like I wouldn't say like in and of itself it's hard, but I think that what makes it challenging is uh like the coursework, but then also like managing the coursework and then also like just because it is an adjustment to college, right? And you're kind of transitioning to a new place and meeting new people. I think like all of those factors, together can make it hard, but um I would say that there's a lot of like mentorship and support available. So um just like in high school, there are resources to help you. There are a lot of resources and like people and like office hours and like professors and things that you can go to reach out for support. And so, um, like wherever you go, like yes, you're gonna encounter challenging coursework and like situations, but I think by by planning strategically and really thinking about how you can um, take advantage of like all of the resources and help that's available to you, you can make the process and the journey like more manageable and also more enjoyable, right? Because it is such an awesome opportunity to get to pursue your passion.
Thank you so much, Sanya. And there were a couple questions about background. Yes, everyone, Sanya is from the San Joaquin Valley, and I'm actually not from San Joaquin Valley. I am a rising senior in Silicon Valley. And just to sort of introduce myself again for those who missed it, I'm really passionate about the intersection of health, science, and education, and I am the founder of this program, the International Achievers. A lot of my work has focused on exploring how we can really, improve community health through areas like nutrition, climate, public health education, and youth advocacy. And I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with different student initiatives, contribute to health focused projects, and really explore research questions about how environmental and lifestyle factors really influence human health. And just going beyond academics and projects, I really enjoy creative work like graphic design and art, and I love finding ways to combine creativity with problem solving. And overall, I'm someone who is constantly curious and looking for ways to learn, build, and create meaningful impact. As Sanya mentioned, curiosity is just a really important factor. And before we close off, we do have questions about the recording and how it'll be distributed. And yes, the session is recorded and will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, and it will also be linked on our website. But I'll be sharing the link with everyone in in our recap email that'll be sent out later today once the recording has been completely uploaded. And Sanya, thank you so much for sharing your journey, experiences, and advice with us today. I think your story is just so inspiring because you really have consistently used your interests to create opportunities and to really serve others in your community. Again, to everyone who joined us today, we hope this conversation really helped you gain a clear understanding of medicine, BSMD pathways, and the importance of building experiences that genuinely reflect your passions. And as the International Achievers, our goal is to continue connecting students with people who inspire curiosity, encourage exploration, and show that meaningful impact begins long before reaching a final destination. Thank you again, Sanya, and thank you everyone for joining us. We hope to see you at our next webinar. For those of you who are interested, please go and look at our previous webinars on our YouTube page that I will be sharing all the links in our recap email. And be sure to check out for future webinars. We'll be having an August webinar as well because this is a monthly process. And thank you so much. If you have any final questions, Sanya, are you open to any final questions?
Yeah, so if you're interested in connecting with me, you can connect via LinkedIn. I can share that information right now in the chat. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining and listening. It was really awesome to get to share my experience today. And I'm really happy that you guys found this helpful.
Thank you so much. And as Sanya mentioned, for those of you who are asking, you can ask her any questions on LinkedIn when you connect with her. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.